Yeah. Sure. Yeah, no, I've got the... Yeah, you got 30 minutes to cut out of this, actually,
Nice.
beforehand.
Awesome.
So,
Okay. Joining us today, that is not Ben. Ben is dealing with some family stuff. He's in our thoughts.
for sure.
Max is sitting in with us. Max Hatlam,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the
great.
program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You big holidays guy? You into Christmas stuff at all?
I don't know. Christmas, it's just like the weather's so bad. Like, it's such a dumb time of year.
Yeah.
You know, Halloween's more my thing.
Yeah.
So.
The stereotypical like Christmas, there's snow everywhere. It's not Indiana. Everything's just gray and dead, and it's awful.
Yeah.
It looks more like the road.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely the problem.
So you have Christmas movies you watch every year?
What's the one that they play on TNT?
The 24 hours?
Yeah. Christmas Story?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The one that everyone loves?
That's the, Red Ryder. You're not a
Yeah.
fan? You say
Oh.
everyone as if you're not included.
I am included. No,
Okay, good, good.
I do. I do love that movie.
No, I saw, was it Barstool Sports released their top 10 Christmas movies of all time?
Okay.
And not only did they include Home Alone 3, which is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
That's the one. That's when they replaced.
Yeah, no Macaulay.
Right.
But they also had Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn as number 3. So of course, like the list posting always just makes you want to make your own list. So I got my own list of Christmas movies.
For sure. Yeah, that's great.
All right. So here we go. Number
Okay.
10, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
What is that?
It's basically like a Friday the 13th ripoff, but it's
Okay.
set in like Christmas time. And so it takes all the like Christian punishment of sins and applies it very literally to Santa Claus.
Oh, damn.
And so this kid whose parents get murdered by a robber who happens to be dressed up by Santa Claus, grows up in an orphanage, is raised like, don't do any of this stuff or you'll get punished.
So it's got kind of the falling down
Yeah.
type of plot line.
He's been
Yeah.
traumatized and molded into this Punisher.
More of a tragic hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel bad for him. Parents got killed by this guy in a Santa suit. He's scared to death, and then this nun is just like, go sit on Santa's lap now. If you're bad, you're not going to get any presents, and he's just freaking out.
Oh, man.
And then, 20 years later.
When was that movie made?
I want to say 84. It was 80s for sure. I mean, 80s slasher movie. I think it got banned a lot of places because it was one of those instances where people were claiming that, like, now my kid thinks Santa Claus is a murderer. Like, just teach your stupid kid that it's a movie. Like, I don't...
That is a serious problem nowadays.
Yeah.
People not understanding that movies are just movies.
Even like more our generation, like Bad Santa, like people were freaking out like, this is going to ruin our children.
Really?
No, it's just a movie where a mall Santa says bad words. Like, it's okay. I think it came out the same year as Elf. Like, we can have a world where both exist.
Right. Yeah. We need a world where both exist because Elf is... Well, oh shit, is Elf on your list?
It is, yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Do you not like Elf?
No, Elf is fine. My memory of Elf is I went to see it with 2 friends, and we were like in middle school at that point, right?
Yeah, 2003, I think.
Yeah. I was in like 7th grade, and I remember...
You're starting to be too cool for this. That was it, right?
We were just too cool for theaters in general. I mean, we were like... not really even paying attention, but just in the back row, like messing around, and then we spilled our popcorn on these people and then just left. It was like an empty theater, just me and my 3 jerk friends.
Was it like a family?
Yeah, it was like this older couple.
Oh.
Yeah, like a whole bucket, and then just like left. It didn't have butter.
That's good. Nobody got burnt.
But they didn't say anything. They
were so just ashamed they couldn't even look at you.
They just took it. They were so disappointed in us.
Elf, I think, is 8. We'll skip ahead. So
Okay.
10, 8, Elf.
No, what was 9?
9 was Scrooged. Bill Murray. You got to have some representation of the Scrooge story.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's
the
a
Muppet
good
one's
one.
pretty good too.
The
Michael
Muppet.
Caine.
I like the Muppet one.
So we got 8 is Elf. And 7, I do have Bad Santa. I enjoy that one.
I liked Bad Santa. Yeah.
Christmas Story, I got at 6, which I liked a lot more when I was a kid. And now I don't know if it's just the fatigue of 24 hours every year or what. But I mean, did you watch it growing up?
Yeah, most of the times I've seen it, I was younger.
I watched it with my wife for the first time, and she'd never seen it as a kid. But like watching it as an adult, she just was like, "This is it? I don't get it at all."
It's tough, man.
I don't
It's
know
really
if it's
tough. Your perception just I don't know. It's always strange when I'm reminiscing on a movie. I tend not to be able to say like that's a great movie.
Right.
It's like I remember loving that movie at a time, but
right.
I don't know if it would be good anymore. Just
right.
Stuff, I don't know. Some of that stuff is so bad now.
That's a great segue to number 5, which is Gremlins, which has a lot of weird stuff in it, but I still love it. It's one of those that's also like, you look back and you're like, wow, I watched this as a kid. Like, it's technically PG, but Phoebe Cates goes on this huge rant about how she doesn't celebrate Christmas anymore because her dad tried to surprise her one Christmas sneaking down the chimney and died. And
wow.
It gets really dark really quick.
That is very bizarre.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I guess I should have saved that. You haven't seen it. That would have been a great Christmas present.
Well, no, that might be the thing that gets me to watch it.
Yeah,
because I didn't have much interest until hearing that.
Okay, so number 4, Black Christmas. So there's been 2 remakes. Ignore both of those. Those never happened.
Okay.
This is 1974, I believe.
Okay.
It's actually directed by the same guy who directed A Christmas Story, oddly enough. So he's got 2 classic Christmas movies, both very different.
Yeah.
It's one of the first precursors to like the whole slasher genre. Like I would say this and Psycho kind of helped birth the genre, even to where like I've seen some behind the scenes stuff with John Carpenter where he said he got a lot of his influence for Halloween from this movie, the first person camera movements and the whole holiday thing where he talked to Bob Clark about like, what would you do if you were going to make a Black Christmas follow-up? He said, well, I'd do another holiday. I'd make a Halloween movie. And that's kind of where those seeds come from. And you see a lot of similarities if you watch the 2. And I really like the soundtrack too. As somebody who enjoys like soundtracks, you should check it out because they do a lot of cool stuff with literally just destroyed a piano to get all these crazy dissonant sounds that they play throughout the movie.
Wow.
And it creates just a really fucking crazy atmosphere. So number 3, Home Alone, the original.
Okay.
Is that another nostalgia play? That one seems like it might be borderline before your time.
Yeah, I never thought much of that movie. But I mean, I think we were probably like pretty young when we rented that, and it was just like, okay. I don't remember getting into a lot of movies where like the protagonist was super young. Like it always took like an older man, what was his name? Sean Connery. I was really into the James Bond shit when I was a kid. My brother was 2 years older.
Yeah.
I guess he would have been influential in that way. My dad would have been influential. Yeah. Going down that path.
I've never seen a Sean Connery James Bond.
Really?
No.
Oh man.
The oldest one I've seen is probably Goldfinger.
Oh well.
Or Goldeneye. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that makes more sense. Because Goldfinger was Sean Connery. Yeah, that's definitely in the category of does not hold up very well. It's honestly insane to me that they're still trying to be like, how do we make James Bond movie? It's like you don't, dude. He's like, what is he? He's just this guy that. He's a secret agent that likes to have sex.
Yeah.
And
he drinks and plays cards. I tried even getting into Casino Royale and there wasn't much for me to get into that one. That's supposed to be like the best.
You talked about that, didn't you?
Yeah,
I remember that. That might be okay with me. That one I think I liked. I wonder if I would still like that going back and watching it. I might not because I know it's like 3 hours long.
It's very long.
And that's
a lot
becoming
of cards.
more important criteria-wise for me as I get older. It's like, man, if you can do it in under 2 hours, like, God bless.
Well, speaking of action movies, number 2, Die Hard.
Of course.
Yeah, you got to have Die Hard. It's a classic.
Yeah.
And then number 1, Christmas Vacation. The Griswolds.
Yeah, that's another thing. I haven't really seen any of like the Christmas Vacation movies.
That's the only. Well, I think they did make a sequel, but don't watch that. So do you have any others that you usually watch? Do you watch It's a Wonderful Life? That was the one I battled with including.
Yeah.
But that we're talking about length.
That would have been another one from. Oh, is that one super long?
It felt long. I don't know. Let me look before I haven't seen it in quite a long time, but
we watched that now and again growing up.
Yeah.
I think we had that on VHS.
1946, 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's not so bad. That's probably shorter than the last Mission Impossible.
I love Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
That was... I saw a lot of him growing up. Yeah. And that was okay. We were just watching Rear Window like the other night.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is still cool.
Oh, like, yeah. This is a lot of Hitchcock stuff.
Hitchcock just knew how to do stuff. He was just smart.
A lot of that stuff, too, like either the pacing or the humor ages so poorly, and both of his stuff is spot on. Like North by Northwest is just so quick and funny.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff has aged incredibly well.
I saw that when I was a kid, and I had no fucking clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's a confusing movie when you're a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like, it's so fascinating.
Yeah, so here I am saying that It's a Wonderful Life is too long for the list. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
That is too long. It's 10 minutes too long.
Mission Impossible Fallout is 2 hours and 27 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and I really enjoyed Dune, and that was long.
You did enjoy Dune, okay.
I did.
Yeah.
And I totally understand your grievance with that. You didn't like the ending.
I don't like that it's not contained, and I don't know. I found myself just getting frustrated with that format. Like, I just watched the Chucky series on USA, and I just feel like I've figured out the code of just like stringing you along for 20 minutes at a time.
Sure.
Just playing off short attention spans, basically, where if that Chucky thing was a movie, I would have hated it. But because it ends every episode with like, well, what the hell's going on now? It keeps me coming back. And before I know it, I've watched 4 hours of something I don't like at all.
Wow. Yeah. I know what you mean by, especially with streaming stuff, like you start seeing that formula that's keeping you tied to the show and like starting to realize like, oh, the stakes aren't real. They're just going to keep resetting.
Yeah. Can we call it the Westworld effect? Is that fair? Where it's just not making sense, but it's enticing enough that you're going to stick with it.
It would depend on, I'm a pretty big
you're a Westworld fan,
depending on the season. I mean, like, I would say I'm a fan of every season.
In all transparency, I've never seen Westworld. I just know everybody.
Oh dang, dude. Okay.
I just know that's the thing, is we're like,
sure,
I love it, but I don't know what the fuck's happening.
That's fair. Yeah. No,
but there are plenty of shows like that. I don't the lines are getting so blurred now that it doesn't really make a difference. In 10-20 years, we might look back at like the Marvel phases, treat them basically like a season of television, where like phase 2 is all these movies and the season finale is Avengers Age of Ultron.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just this weird preconceived notion in my head. It's the same content, but it's something about the packaging where I'm like, well, if I have to watch something else for this to be enjoyable, what am I doing with this then? Yeah. I'm hung up on it.
No, I get it. It's a fair grievance.
Well, speaking of grievances, look at these segues. This is great. So, for our first holiday show, we've decided to have a Festivus Airing of Grievances. I got some holiday music. We'll pipe in here. Do you have any grievances you'd like to air?
You go ahead. I'll see if I can come.
Okay. So, in the vein of what we were talking about earlier, people complaining about movie lengths, I've kind of gotten sick of, just because the same people complaining about 3-hour movies will watch 10 hours of Tiger King or binge watch an entire season of Bridgerton in like a weekend. And I don't know. The hypocrisy there gets me a little bit. We're like, I have to write off every movie that's 2.5 hours long, but also I will agree, like, Mission Impossible probably didn't need to be 2.5 hours. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I'm going to guess No Time to Die could use a little trimming.
How long was that one? Was that super long?
2 hours and 43 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of James Bond, man.
Yeah, I guess if you're just binging and you push it to like 3 or 4 hours, then what's the difference?
Right. And I get, like, people usually say, well, it's broken up into episodes. I can stop. That's kind of the thing, where it's not this constant attention pull, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Avengers Endgame, which was half a movie, was 3 hours long. That's kind of ridiculous.
I don't know if they needed 6 hours to tell that story.
It was... And especially Endgame, that was like the victory lap one, where let's go back and it's like a clip show. Let's go back to all our greatest moments. Look at what we did. Okay, another grievance. Release schedules. Every like Oscar movie comes out between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's so much dead time on the calendar. Like September, nothing comes out. There's so many different sources now. Why can't they spread it out? I don't understand. Do they really think people are that
forgetful?
Yeah, they can't retain anything, that if they don't show it to you literally right before you vote, you're gonna forget? All right. Slow, dramatic remixes of pop songs used for movie trailers.
Oh, shit,
That's
dude.
a grievance.
Yes. This is a great one. I have been thinking about this for, like, years because I've never liked it. when did this start with like it was like a trailer for like a Transformers movie.
Oh yeah,
something.
You're right. It was like a Linkin Park song or something, wasn't it?
Really?
It's Michael Bay. It's got to be something like that.
Oh man.
I was gonna say that it was Us, but yeah, you're right. It's been a little older than that even, because Us did.
Us?
Or not?
Yeah.
Us did. I got 5 on it, which that was actually one of the good ones that I liked.
Yeah. No, it's been going on for longer than that.
You're right, because I think there was like a dubstep version of Seven Nation Army for like a G.I. Joe movie with The Rock.
Oh man.
And yeah, that was a good one. The worst one. Are you familiar with The Challenge on MTV?
No.
Where it's like Road Rules versus The Real World?
Yeah.
I think both of those shows have been canceled, but The Challenge is still happening for some reason.
Oh.
And I caught a trailer for it the other day, and they were doing like a slow, dramatic remix of Smash Mouth's hit song All Star, because it's the All Stars, you know?
You've got to be kidding, dude.
That was the worst.
God. This is something that I've thought of to the extent of trying to figure out how to like parody.
Yeah.
And that's something I would have considered. It's like, maybe All-Star, you know? Because I feel like I've seen it pushed to these really ridiculous points. Like, not this, but, you know, where they would be like some woman singing Twinkle Twinkle in like a minor key.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Say My Name with Candyman was pretty bad. Like, I get that it kinda almost plays into the movie, but I just can't think of that as in a horror context.
That's... No. It's too sexy.
Yeah,
let's be real.
We took submissions via the interwebs. Would you like me to read those, or you got any for yourself?
I'm overall not a fan of like pop songs in movies. At least like diegetic, where it's like part of the soundtrack. Like if it's happening in the scene, that's okay. But like Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I was gonna say James Gunn does it a lot. Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that's all a Tarantino byproduct, right?
Probably.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Like he popularized like the old 70s songs as like a soundtrack to people getting annihilated. All right, so I've got some here. I'm gonna read. My biggest grievance this year was people still not wearing masks correctly in packed places like the grocery store. It's not that hard to put it over your nose. I feel like the people who don't wear it correctly are just not wearing it at all anymore.
Yeah,
right?
No. At the grocery store I go to at this point, I'd estimate it's like 20% of people are still wearing masks.
Yeah.
And 80% are not, and they're not pretending to either.
Right.
So, yeah.
Having to tip my delivery driver before I get my food. Half the time my order is late or screwed up, and I already gave them a good tip. I wish I could take it back.
With you on that one, bud. Yeah. And sometimes you give like a nice tip as a way of saying like, hey, don't fuck up my food, and then they do.
That is from Herbambient? At Herbambient? I'm terrible at pronouncing things already, and these are just handles now. This is going to be worse.
Sure, yeah. We don't even know.
Okay. Why is Ryan so mean to Ben? He seems like an ugly dickhead. Fuck Ryan and his young Willem Dafoe face. He's going bald too. Fucker. That's from at Ken Belly. Okay, I think I know who that is. All right. We'll just skip that one. That's passwords. I'm out of fucking passwords. Just scan my digital soul and amalgamate my entire identity into the goddamn cloud already. Does it need a special character? Does it need to be capitalized? And which one is wrong, the username or password? I'm not a robot. I just don't know where the bridge is. That's from at McDoug411.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I feel you, McDoug.
Do you ever have any like vulgar ones where you have to reset it and then you get embarrassed that you have to like talk to a person and say like, yeah, sorry, my password is EATMYASS69420?
That has never happened to me, and I've never.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never had a password. It never even occurred to me that I could put cuss words in my password. That's a good idea.
It's not, because if anyone, it's very simple to follow my formula. It's not eat my ass 420, but it's in the same vein where that if someone were to crack one of mine, they would just have the floodgates to everything.
You'd never be safe again.
I actually had it once where I was working on a school project and I was on spring break and I forgot to send the file. And I logged out of my computer, and I had to call my mom to email, and she's like, "You're logged out. What's your password?" That's the password it came with. I don't.
My mom's an asshole.
I got grounded.
Is that it? Anyone
No.
else?
There are a couple more.
Yeah,
You would keep going?
Oh, yeah. I like these.
Release your entire season at once. It's not 1992. I don't want to consume my television 1 week at a time anymore. This is at... I never know this one. This one has bothered me forever. Is it Alex is on fire or Alexis on fire? That's their handle with a 3.
I say Alexis on fire.
But yeah, I agree with that one wholly because I'm watching so many shows right now. I can't keep the storyline straight from year to year. Have you been watching Succession? I have to wait until it's all done.
It's funny that you brought that up because Succession is my counterpoint to this because I enjoy the week-to-week conversation, the water cooler effect, right? And after Succession comes out, I have like fucking 2 or 3 Succession podcasts that I'll listen to the next day,
just
like depending on how excited I was by the episode. But yeah, recapping and discussing and stuff like that. I like that stuff. I really like getting to do that. But I think honestly, it's like up to the creator. Like I also felt like it was really cool not too long ago when the entire world watched Squid Game at the same time.
Yeah.
And like binged it so that we could all talk about it. And I don't think there necessarily would have been as much joy in like theorizing like what was going to happen on Squid Game the next week.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the arc. I think it depends on the style, stuff like that.
I will say one instance where it definitely hindered the experience was watching Twin Peaks season 3 week to week. That wore me down. Just 20 hours of that, or however many episodes where you've got musical guests every episode, and it's just so non-linear, it's impossible to stick with almost. Whereas, I think everybody watched the first 2 seasons just binging it straight through. I mean, we weren't around in the early 90s to watch it on ABC or whatever. I feel like I would have lost patience with the old seasons that way because they're so different and weird. But
yeah, the binge model is what got everyone excited about Twin Peaks.
Right.
And arguably the reason that it had a reboot.
For sure,
Yeah.
I rewatched season 3 because we had Zoe on a couple episodes back, and being able to just fast forward through the musical performances and just watch it all consecutively, I was like, yeah, this is a lot more enjoyable than like spending an entire summer going, do I hate this? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
All right, what do we got here? Oh, people who pick up their dog's poop in a plastic bag and then leave the plastic bag on the ground. You're defeating the purpose. The bag will take longer to decompose than the poop would have on its own. I've seen that a lot, actually. Have you seen it? Yeah, where you just see the bag on the ground somewhere.
I may have seen it a couple times, but
I don't understand that. If you're gonna take the time to grab it, I mean,
take it with you. I don't love carrying the poo.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Right.
You're gonna feel uncomfortable for the rest of the walk.
Yeah.
But it's good. I honestly think it's kind of stupid. Honestly, like I think just make sure your dog doesn't poop where people are gonna walk. We're wasting a bunch of plastic.
Right. No, for sure. There's definitely that aspect to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of animals shit in my yard, but if it was like a serial offender every day, I was like, all right, dude, can you make it across the street next time? Or
yeah, I guess, okay. To be fair, I was picturing like a park.
Right.
That's usually where I'm dealing with this.
Right.
Yeah, it's different when it's your yard. Your neighborhood and stuff.
There's so many of the parks around here that just have geese shit everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the big difference here?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Ben should get more airtime. Ryan hogs the conversation, doesn't let Ben talk in the interviews, and thinks he knows about rap when the only hip-hop concert he's been to was when 2 members of 2 Live Crew played at Chili's in like 2013. Fake ass bitch. Weak.
Wow.
At Ben Kelly 311. He's got a new number this time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ken Belly.
Thanks, Ben.
Ken. It's Ken.
Oh, Ken. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Ken.
Let's do away with EPs. Who cares how long your album is if you're never going to sell physical copies?
Oh.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Why are we even calling them albums anymore?
That's true. Yeah. CDs.
Yeah.
Vinyl, yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like there are EPs or like collections that are 6 songs. I would prefer that way and would have a different impression of them if they were collected with another 6 songs.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
So it's like if all you could muster was like 6 songs in this specific style, and then you feel yourself starting to like veer into something else after that, and it's like this shit doesn't fit on the same record together, then like just do the 6 songs, right?
Yeah. No, there's plenty of instances where I feel like, you didn't need these last 3, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of throws the vibe off for the rest of the album, where would have been perfectly contained if you would have just cut some of the dead ends, I guess, off
But
the end of it.
people push themselves to 10 or 12 because they feel like they have to.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, what do we got? I'm still furious someone cast Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball in a world where Deborah Messing exists. Is Deborah Messing Grace? Will and Grace? Is that who that is? Yeah, that would have been a good Lucille Ball. Nicole Kidman doesn't look like Lucille Ball. I didn't know they were actually married when they were doing I Love Lucy. Did you know they were a real-life couple?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So you've got an old soul. You know all about Lucille Ball and Sean Connery.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Okay, last one here. Ryan's an inconsiderate cockstain. He's just mean to cover up how soft he really is, listening to weak shit like Olivia Rodrigo and Prince. He has a fucking Grease soundtrack on vinyl. Insecure bald ass, and you're going to replace me with Max, a fucking Gen, real original. Do something about your breath. That's from Ken Belly 420. All right, that's the end of the segment. All right, so did you watch Harder They Fall?
I did. Yeah, I watched it a couple nights ago.
What'd you think? Are you a big Western guy? I guess if you're into old school, that would be...
I love Westerns, yeah. I actually don't know a lot of old Westerns. I watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid a lot growing up.
Yeah?
I don't really remember much about it. I remember some crucial parts, but no, like in more recent years, I've gotten really into Westerns. And so this was a fun one to watch. It was really stylish, you know, or not like overly stylish, but I liked the little flourishes. This is like some of my favorite people working right now. I mean, Jonathan Majors is one of them.
Cast is awesome.
I feel like that dude just makes stuff good. Regina King was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I really liked it. Like you said, I kind of was thinking about the whole resurgence of like modern Westerns. I think that's one of the better ones I've seen. The style, it would be a really good companion piece to Django, not just because it's black cowboys, but because it's so stylized.
No, you're absolutely right. It actually made me go back and rewatch Django.
Yeah. Do you know who the director was?
I don't think so.
Are you familiar with the 1995 song Kiss from a Rose?
By Seal?
Yeah, it's Seal's brother directed this movie.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I did not know that until I looked it up. I was like, wow, that's
right. The
unexpected.
Bullets. I looked up. I saw that he had that nickname. So he and his brother both have cool.
Oh, his nickname's Bullets?
Yeah, the Bullets.
Oh, the Bullets. I didn't know that. One thing I will say though, with like this cast, I feel like I've been waiting for Idris Elba to be like awesome leading man, and he still hasn't like done it for me. It's like he's relying on screen presence. I don't know what it is.
You know, that final scene.
Oh yeah.
Between, I'll try not to spoil anything, but there's a very like powerful scene at the end between Jonathan Majors and Idris Elba, and not to like, I've already harped on Jonathan Majors enough, but like you can't compare the two for me. Like Jonathan Majors is like bringing this really powerful emotional energy, and Idris Elba was not matching it for me personally at that ending, and the scene kind of fell flat because of that. And someone I hadn't mentioned earlier, but Lakeith Stanfield,
he's
that
awesome.
dude, like I want to know more about the character. Even though he has so little to do in this movie, it's like that guy knows how to play it, made the character interesting in a way that I wasn't really feeling it from Idris Elba as much as the rest of the cast. I still enjoy him, but I think you might be right about that a little bit.
I've been like championing him ever since I finally sat down and watched The Wire.
Oh, sure.
Like, this dude needs like a leading role, and it's just every time like, not that one. Okay, maybe the next one. And I feel like watching this in the same year as Suicide Squad, where I'm just like, maybe it is him. Maybe it's not the movies he's getting. You know what I mean?
No, I feel like they did a lot in service of his character in this movie to show you how bad he was. Yeah. But it was coming from the script more so than like the performance itself.
Oh, absolutely. So. No, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I was glad you did as well.
Yeah, it definitely sent me into checking out some other Westerns and stuff.
I feel like it's definitely one of the better modern Westerns that I've seen in a long time. I was trying to think of others. I mean, there's No Country for Old Men, Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one. That's Coen Brothers, right?
Yeah.
It's like comedy.
It's like a dark comedy, but it's kind of like an anthology too. So there's a lot of little stories to it.
Oh,
but
that sounds fun.
That one was really good. I think that was a Netflix exclusive also. Yeah. But a lot of Taylor Sheridan stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Wind River, Hell or High Water.
I watched Wind River the other night. I'd never seen it before, and
I dug that one quite a bit.
That was really good. Yeah, I really liked his take on the genre and kind of trading in horses for snowmobiles, and just the whole the setting is so powerful in that movie.
It almost reminds me of like a John Grisham or something, where it's these really like detailed settings, really basic stories, but it's just really compelling crime mystery type stories.
Yeah.
Hell or High Water was really good. I haven't seen it, but the Yellowstone series is supposedly like really good.
I just remembered I read earlier that he wrote Sicario.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And when I read that, I was like seeing these parallels between Benicio del Toro's character and Jeremy Renner's character.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I can see some of this.
Speaking of, that's just going to be my segue for everything. Speaking of this, so there's Westerns, very much kind of a maligned subgenre that doesn't get a lot of attention currently. Even more so, coming to the forefront, musicals. Do you have any interest in musicals whatsoever?
Yeah, I appreciate a good musical. I actually got to see Book of Mormon at one point.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Not it wasn't some like incredible like New York performance or whatever, but like it was super fun. I like stuff like that. Yeah. You apparently have a Grease vinyl, right? So is that do you like Grease?
I like Grease, yeah. I grew up with it.
Me too.
Yeah, it's good.
I still like Grease.
The reason I bring it up is because I've tried to watch 2 musicals this year, and I just didn't connect with them at all.
Was it the Andrew Garfield?
Yep, it was Lin-Manuel Miranda's stuff. Actually, if you throw in Hamilton, I couldn't do Hamilton either.
So Hamilton, In the Heights, and
Tick, Tick, Boom.
Tick, Tick, Boom. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I made it 20 minutes into probably all 3 of those.
Well, I haven't felt the urge to like check out any of them. It's not a top priority for me.
Do you have any interest in West Side Story?
That I do.
See, yeah. I did not. Have you seen that? You probably watched that growing up too, didn't you?
Well, yeah, and I've seen that one in person as well.
Oh, okay.
Cool. I've seen that one in theater, watched that one growing up.
I know nothing about it other than Spielberg, so that's my entry point, and supposedly it's one of his best from the early reviews.
I mean, cool. That's great. I've heard they're like redoing all the dancing and everything, which to me, it's interesting because like I mean I'm kind of almost maybe a little relieved by that because it means that like there is straight up iconic choreography from West Side Story, and to ditch that is to kind of say like, yeah, this isn't going to be like The Force Awakens or whatever,
right?
You know, which is always kind of
try and reinvent it a little bit.
Yeah. Which at this point I'd rather see that. So
did you check out the Astro World documentary?
No.
I think it was called like Astro World Hell on Earth or something like that. Like they had already framed the event before the investigation had even been resolved.
Wow.
I saw a quote from Chuck D, which kind of mirrored my own thoughts on it, where I don't know why Travis Scott and Drake are getting the bulk of the blame thrown at them. It reminded me a little bit when we watched the Woodstock 99 documentary of everybody blaming Fred Durst for Woodstock 99. There's a lot of people organizing these events responsible for the safety and security of these shows.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I have the quote here. So he says, Travis Scott is a performer, not a concert promoter. He doesn't run the sound or venues or festivals or their staff. He doesn't build stages or coordinate logistics. He's not an expert in crowd control or security or emergency medical services. But he does trust Live Nation and all the other concert promoters who are supposed to do all of this. And yet here we are, 10 deaths and counting. I'm not buying the young black man did it. He's being blamed for a crime while the old white men running the corporations that Travis and his fans trusted with their lives stay quiet in the shadows, counting their money and watching their stock prices go up and up. The excuse of Scott's irresponsible actions don't wash. If his act had a history of that behavior, why promote him to bigger venues? Why partner with him in the first place and let him headline a bigger audience? Live Nation controlled this show. They control almost all of the concert venues. So I'm calling on Michael Rapinoe's entire team at Live Nation and a consortium of all other major concert promoters out there to do the right thing, step up and step out of the shadows to fix these situations and save lives. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's gotten messy where people are digging up all kinds of things he's done in the past, and I feel like we've probably both been in situations where you get that mob mentality, and it can be scary, where everybody's just pushing forward. I've been to plenty of giant metal festivals where they literally split the crowd and people are running straight at each other.
Really scary, yeah.
And I'm a little surprised it's taken this long for somebody to even address it. Like, I feel like maybe this is another thing that stepping back from concerts and taking a break due to COVID might cause people to reevaluate some of this stuff and think about how concerts are, because there are plenty of situations where you really can't get out of the way. Like, if you're being pushed forward, it's much harder to get out of there than it is to push forward. And it's scary to think about being just trampled or stuck up at the front of something like this.
You've got a different idea of it in your mind now, right? When you picture being in the middle of one of those crowds.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, for a number of reasons, but yeah, just the sheer incontrollable force that can erupt in events like that. It's like, it's intimidating, yeah.
I watched the documentary on the Malice at the Palace, where they look at like how little security there was at like a basketball game, and once the crowd starts erupting, they realize, oh shit, we only have like 8 guys in t-shirts to keep this from turning into a riot.
Right.
Like, it gets really fucking scary really quick. Also, true stories wise, did you hear about the House of Gucci controversy where the Gucci family is upset about their portrayal in the film?
No, I haven't heard about that. What did they say?
Basically just that they're turning a tragedy, which I don't know if you know anything about the story. I didn't either, but apparently there's an assassination at the core of it that actually took place.
Wow.
And kind of turn it into a dark comedy.
Oh,
and
wow.
So yeah, it's a little icky. Where a lot of people, even in like the fashion industry, like Tom Ford has been like, these are kind of caricatures. It wasn't quite this exaggerated and this buffoonish.
Wow.
Jared Leto has all this fat makeup and he's snorting Tabasco sauce to get into the character or whatever.
You had me at Jared Leto, dude. I mean, it's an insult to be portrayed by him at any point.
Well, and that's Ridley Scott's got some bad quotes lately, but his quote on the subject
he sure
was,
does.
They should just be honored to be represented by world-class actors like Jared Leto and Al Pacino. It's like, no, not exactly.
No.
Yeah.
I love Ridley Scott. I love a lot of his work, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with that dude anymore.
Yeah. He also blamed the last dual bombing on cell phones and millennials. But
he's unhinged.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you released the movie in between Halloween Kills, Venom, and Dune. Yeah. Of course, nobody's going to go see your medieval jousting movie with Ben Affleck and a blonde mullet. Like, that's it was a terrible movie. There's no reason other than that for people to avoid your movie. It's just another odd instance of like, who has jurisdiction on real events? Should the Gucci family have some say in how their story is told? Or are they not to be trusted because they're going to whitewash it all? And you got a little taste of that with the King Richard, I feel like.
What way?
It was produced by the Williams sisters.
Oh, sure.
And it kind of had this air of, our dad was crazy, but it all turned out. He knew what he was doing. And I feel like some of the moments may have been a little glossed over.
Yeah, you could have a very different take on that.
Where he's like pushing his kids out to practice in the rain and stuff in some scenes. And then all of a sudden, there's this abrupt turn in the movie where he's like, nope, I want my kids to be kids. They're not going to train anymore. Did that really happen? It seems like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just suspicious because of the Queen biopic. It's tough to separate people's agendas and what narrative they want to spin.
That's true, yeah. I don't know where to land on that. I don't totally agree with either side.
Yeah, no, because it can get pulled into extreme camps where The Last Dance basically felt like a 10-hour Nike commercial. Like, you don't feel like you extracted any new information about Michael Jordan. It was just documenting all of his on-court performances in giant dramatic fashion.
Right.
Everything that is put out about Michael Jordan is controlled by Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of interest in that.
Yeah.
In seeing people like making documentaries about themselves.
Right. Well, it's kind of the double-edged sword of people having the accessibility of their own platforms to tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it in whatever light you want, but it's kind of dangerous when it is portrayed as the truth or as fact.
Yeah.
Especially in documentaries, where at least in movies you say, oh, that's Al Pacino. Who fucking cares? But on the music front, you're a big Converge fan.
Yeah.
What did you think about this Blood Moon collaboration with Chelsea Wolfe?
thought it was pretty cool.
I've seen very mixed reactions. I was surprised.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where Converge has had like one of the most solid track records of any current band going, and people were pointing to this as maybe this is their misstep, but I didn't feel that way at all.
This is one of those bands where it's like they're in these different eras, right?
Yeah.
So you've got like their early experimental shit, and then I feel like around No Heroes you start getting more of this like consistent Converge sound, entering into like the polishing era. But that shit was still cool. But yeah, the danger of like your polished era is how many polished records are you going to write that people actually want to listen to? Like you keep narrowing, right?
Yeah.
But then I feel like they did this collaboration and kind of gave themselves some more room to work in, because this feels like taking a step back and instead of going further down that same path.
There's plenty of their clean vocals on the album.
Mm-hmm.
If it wouldn't have had Chelsea Wolfe on it, I don't think I would have had the same reaction at all. Or if it was just them with clean vocals the whole way throughout, I think I probably would have had a negative reaction to it.
You could be right about that. I think she adds quite a bit to it. She's an incredible singer, and it just fits what they're doing really well. Like, it's just so haunting. Everything wrapped together is just so haunting
for
and
sure.
Cool. And they are doing some of their like familiar stuff. I feel like the drummer is a little out of his element.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like, wait, so all the songs are going to be slow?
Right.
So what do I do? But, you know, production is always good on their stuff. I always like hearing what is his studio called? God City.
Oh yeah. It sounds really full.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like a soundtrack, almost like this crazy gothic western going on.
yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
And
I like that they sneak in their little rustic western shit from time to time. It works really well. But yeah. No, I think you're right. I think Chelsea Wolfe really pushed it. It's interesting. I hadn't really considered if you took her out of it, I don't know if I'd have the same feeling that I do about it being like progress for Converge. But no, I think it's exciting that they've pivoted in this way, and I'm more interested in seeing what they do next than I would have been if it had been another polished Converge record, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, and I know you said you weren't really familiar with Chelsea Wolfe going into this.
No.
But I couldn't have picked a better progression for her career either, because she did Abyss, which kind of had some of this, but the instrumentation was a little simple. And then it got better on His Spun, which was 2017. And then Birth of Violence in 2019, it kind of got this acoustic, almost Celtic, dark feel where you missed the metal, you missed the guitars, and because it is so airy and kind of haunting, you need something else going on besides just like an acoustic guitar and a drum.
Sure, yeah.
And so this was perfect. Like, I would have never imagined she bounced back with this, and it was like a perfect collaboration that I never would have thought of, but it makes so much sense now that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope more people do this, actually, because this style like is awesome. I want to see Lana Del Rey on a metal album with somebody. Like, that would be sick, because right now she's just like a super sad lounge singer, and it's so boring. I need instruments back in her music.
Who would you like to see her with?
It's not really metal, but like Queens of the Stone Age would be cool. Or like, I'm kind of getting bored with solo Jack White. If she did like a team up with Jack White, that would be sick. More metal, I don't know. Between the Buried and Me.
Oh shit.
That guy's losing his voice. That would be tight.
Is he?
Kinda, yeah. He had some guest growls on Colors too. I don't think he can get that raspy anymore.
Oh, okay. So he brought in someone else to growl.
Yeah, on a few of the tracks. Okay. You can tell he's like straining to push it through in the studio, but even live, you can tell he's got like a distortion pedal on his mic and stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting.
But I mean, you can only do that for so long. I mean,
right.
Again, Converge is like one of the few bands to make it out of that era of like 2000s hardcore and still be making interesting music like this.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, most people end up like pivoting in a much bigger way to a different style of music.
Either go butt rock or shoegaze, right? All roads lead to shoegaze.
Yeah.
I saw a meme. It was like post-punk, emo, metal, and they all just eventually evolve into shoegaze.
Right. Yeah.
So you have any collaborations you'd like to see, or favorite collaborations parallel to this?
I can't think of too many. There was that time that Linkin Park remixed Hybrid Theory or whatever the fuck that
with
record
Jay-Z?
was. Yeah. They had a bunch of people. There were so many people, and I was so excited for new Linkin Park, and I didn't even really read the front of the CD case to see what I was buying.
And that was like a $20 Best Buy CD, wasn't it?
Yeah, or like yeah. So that was not great.
More recently, I really liked Better Oblivion Community Center with Phoebe Bridgers and Connor Oberst.
Okay. I haven't listened to that.
I like that record a lot better than anything Phoebe's done on her own, and anything that Connor's done outside of Bright Eyes in a long time. So that was really good. I really like Antarctigo Vespucci with Jeff Rosenstock and Chris Farron. Silk Sonic was okay. I don't know if you checked that out.
I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah.
It should have been funkier, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It should have been funkier. Do you remember Audio Slave?
Yeah.
What did you think of Audio Slave?
I hated it. I did not like Audio Slave. I just thought of another one, too. Now we're just thinking of bad 2000s super groups. Chickenfoot? Are you familiar with Chickenfoot?
What the hell is Chickenfoot?
It's, so you got Sammy Hagar, Joe Satriani from Deep Purple. I thought there was another really good guy. Oh, Michael Anthony from Van Halen. Is it just Van Halen leftovers? Oh, Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers plays drums.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I guess that wasn't much of a super group. Is it just spare parts from Van Halen? I remember seeing, in the heyday of Chickenfoot, I remember seeing a Jeep drive around Fort Wayne with the Chickenfoot logo on its like spare tire on the back. And I just thought that was quite the commitment to get the Chickenfoot decal on your Jeep. And they had 2 albums, Chickenfoot and Chickenfoot 2.
Oh, really? They couldn't even like give them fucking names?
That's it. That is a bad sign. Like after 1990, if your album is your band name, it's not going to be a good record. Have you noticed that?
No, I thought people still did the whole like self-titled thing.
They're usually not good though, especially if you're like 2 or 3 records in.
Oh, and then you're like, no, but this one, didn't like Blink-182 do that? Or
yeah,
something?
Exactly.
Exactly. Not a good thing.
All right, so we're getting to the end of the year, doing our year in tiers, where we break down like the best, the really good, the average, the not so great, and the terrible. So that's the format we're going with. We're going to try and fit it into an episode next time around.
What did you like as far as punk stuff? We both grew up listening to punk music.
I mean, there's a lot of that kind of like Midwest emo stuff that's still going on that I dig, like Virginity, Sincere Engineer. I don't know if I'm allowed to like Hospital Bracelet, but their album's good. So I'll just say their record was good, but I don't know if I'm allowed to support the band.
Why is that? I don't know anything about them.
They got canceled real quick.
Oh, okay.
The singer wasn't divvying up the money with the rest of the bandmates and then tried to replace some of the members when they couldn't make an audio tree recording. And I don't know. I don't think it's that bad in terms of
some
cancelable.
Regular ass band drama to me from what I've experienced. I don't know. Maybe I've just been working with the wrong people.
Yeah. I can say that from experience. I don't know. These are 20-year-old kids figuring out how to run a business, essentially.
Right.
I don't begrudge them trying to figure out how to divvy up money. I mean, when you have stories of like Tom Petty sitting down his entire band and telling them, I'm going to make twice as much as you because it's my fucking name on the band. Like,
sure. Well, yeah, it's funny to think about how many people like that would have gotten canceled if they were around.
Oh,
nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and just the naked capitalism of it all. Like, even Kurt Cobain had that same thing with his band where he's like, yeah, I'm going to make more than you guys because I'm doing more work. I'm writing all the songs.
Right.
It sounds shitty when you talk about, you just imagine like 3 of your friends making something together and then one of them's like, I think I deserve more than you guys now.
Yeah.
That sounds shitty, but I mean, in the framework of a business, whoever's creating and putting in more work, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like Hospital Bracelet. I said it. That's it. I tried to reach out for them. They've disappeared. They've gone into hiding.
Dang.
The funny thing that triggered all of this is because Riot Fest got a bunch of shit for never having Chicago bands on their bill. It's just always a massive thing.
Yeah.
And so finally this year they got on the bill and everybody's like, well, are your members even going to be there? Because you tried to cut them out of the audio tree and blah, blah, blah. And then it just blew up. And no Riot Fest for them. All right, so I guess we'll end with recommendations. You got any movies or music you'd like to recommend that we haven't already talked about?
Let me look at my Spotify.
Did you post your year wrapped?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I didn't post it because I don't have anything to post it on. But I listened to a lot of video game music this year. Yeah, Disaster Piece was high up there for me.
Okay, cool.
I really enjoy that guy's work. I would recommend checking out anything that he's done. I think a lot of people know him from the It Follows soundtrack.
Yeah.
He's been working on video games for a long time and then has like studio albums that are also fantastic. I've got a video game I could recommend.
Yeah.
I've been playing this game called Dicey Dungeons.
All right.
Like, it's super basic. I mean, at least it starts out pretty basic and then starts getting a little more complicated. There's a little bit of chance involved, a little bit of strategy. It's like a turn-based deck building game, and I've never played like a deck building. Have you ever heard that term before? It's like when you're getting
like Pokemon, like you're.
I think kind
you're
of.
You're gathering the best materials as you go. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gathering like these cards that I use like in the battle or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But like main reason I'm recommending this is because the music is fantastic.
Okay.
Maybe just check out Chipzel or Chipzel. I'm not sure how she pronounces her thing, but she's fantastic. She's put out some great stuff, and the Dicey Dungeons soundtrack is a good listen. Let me tell you, it's fun.
When you talk about video game music, what's your go-to like Mount Rushmore of video game soundtracks?
Like all-time favorite would probably be Final Fantasy X. Nobuo Uematsu, like anything that guy does is awesome.
Yeah.
So like any of the Final Fantasy soundtracks, and then. Also, like, oldest is probably... I really like the Star Fox 64 music. I'm not sure who the composer was, but, you know, the sound fonts, like the sounds that they use for the music is not great. It's pretty underwhelming. But, like, if you listen to what's actually going on there, it's very well composed music. It's really good stuff.
Did you ever get into, like, the mini-bosses or the Advantage?
Mini-bosses are dope.
Yeah, they cover, like, the old stuff.
Yeah.
That's my jam. All the Mega Man shit. That was my shit growing up. Mega Man and Bucky O'Hare. Those were my two soundtracks. But
Mega Man 2 is a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, that's my favorite for sure.
Nice.
Contra. Anything Konami.
Yeah, dude. Contra's good.
All right, I guess I would recommend The Humans. It is based on a play. The guy who wrote the play actually ended up directing the movie, and it fills out really well. It's not like a lot of plays I feel like you can tell. It's in one location, and it's very, very staged and very long dialogue and everything, where this is very dialogue heavy, but it is incredibly natural and just super realistic, but the way he films it, it's super unnerving and super unsettling. You mentioned The Road earlier. It has a lot of those vibes, but it all takes place in a New York City apartment during Thanksgiving. And there's just this weird aura throughout the whole thing of this family just gathering for a Thanksgiving dinner, and just this vague, I don't know, depression that all these people share getting together. The cast is really good. Richard Jenkins from The Shape of Water plays the dad.
Cool.
Amy Schumer is one of the daughters.
Oh.
And she's actually really good for like a dramatic role. I don't think I've seen her in anything for a long time. Beanie Feldstein also. Jonah Hill's sister.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, so she plays Amy Schumer's little sister. But yeah, it's just a really almost uncomfortably authentic family gathering in like super anxiety-ridden times. And yeah, it's a great, great holiday movie. I know I mentioned Planes, Trains, and Automobiles last time, but yeah, The Humans might become a new one. I liked it that much.
Nice. Oh, do we just like fade out on?
Yeah, we'll fade out with the Christmas music.
Oh, right.
Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I got nervous. I don't know because people get mad at happy holidays. The other day I told somebody to have a sick December.